Hello and welcome to the third session of spreadsheet training. This is for using Outlook 2007. We've already done a series of training videos for 2003, but as there's quite a radical difference between the two, we're creating our own one here for 2007. So let's just have a quick recap of what we did last week. And last week we started looking at the ideas of building up slightly more complicated formulas. And we had this monthly outgoings, just this fictional budget. And what I want to do is I want to write a formula that will add up everything in the B column. Okay, add up all the values. So from B3, I want it to add up everything to B15. Okay, and we looked at, we could write B3 plus B4 plus B5 plus B6. And that would certainly work. It's not a very economic way of doing things. It takes a lot of effort to put in that much information, but it would work. But then we looked at the idea of the sum formula, SUM. Okay, and so I'll just write it again for you from what we did last week. So it's a formula, so it starts with equals. SUM is the type of formula we want to do. Then I'm going to do open brackets, and basically the sum formula works by adding up everything that's inside the brackets. Okay, I'm now going to take my mouse and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag over the entire selection that I want it to add up. Okay, and you can see that it writes it in for me. So it's written B3, then it's put a colon and then B15, and the colon just means everything in between. Okay, and inclusive. So it's going to start with B3 and it's going to go up to B15, and what we do is we get this check. You can see, let me close off the brackets to stop those marching ants that were dancing all over the place, and you can see that the B3 to B15 is written in blue, and you can see that there's a blue box around B3 to B15. Okay, and that visual aid, although sometimes on some large spreadsheets, it's not going to be useful, but on something like this, you just get that visual cue that you're just in the right area. You know that you're summing up the right thing, and you know that when you press return, that it's going to add up everything in the brackets, everything in blue. All right. So I strongly recommend just checking, just do that quick visual correlation that the things in blue match what you want to add up, and then that's absolutely fine. So let me press return, and we get 639.38. Okay, so let's just write it again. I'll write it manually this time. So we'll say equals sum open brackets, and this time I'm going to say C3 colon C15. Okay, so that's that done there. And then we looked at this idea that you can actually take the bottom right hand corner. Okay, and we can see the bottom right hand corner. The bottom right hand corner always has this extra. It has a large black, well, not that particularly large, but it's got a black square in the bottom right hand corner, and that is a little handle, and you can see that as my cursor goes to it over the black square, I get a black cross, and that's sort of telling me that they're lining up. And then I'm going to drag my formula now all the way across to the right, and what Excel has very cleverly done, if I bring up any of these formulas and we look at them up here, as I dragged it into the D column, because the formula now sits in the D column, it's changed from adding C3 to C15 to D3 to D15, E3 to E15. So basically it knows what column it's in, and it's just changed the reference to be in that column. Okay, which is great. I'm just going to do something just as sort of almost housekeeping. I'm just going to tidy that a little bit and just put a box around it maybe. There we go, that looks a bit better. So I think we're all happy hopefully with the idea of the basic sum formula. Now let's go ahead and let's do something else. So I'm going to say here I'm going to put VAT, all right, and here I'm going to say what the VAT, in fact let's do it over here so it's sort of not in the way of the answers. So we're going to have VAT, and VAT is 20% at the moment. And what I need to do is I want to tell Excel that what I have here is a percentage. Now, there's two ways I can do that. Because percentage is quite a common thing to use, there's actually a button here which I can just click, and it's gone to 200%. I think let me just undo that and delete what's in there. I'll set it to 0.2 and make it a percentage. There we go. So percentages, obviously 100% is 1, isn't it? So 50% of something is 0.5, it's half. And so I wanted 20%, so that was 0.2. And when I actually typed in 20, it gave me 20 times 100. But don't worry about that. So we know that 0.2 is 20%. Okay, so that's one way I can do it. I can click on that little button. Okay, the other way you can do it, of course, is you can right click and you can choose Format Cells. And inside the Format Cells dialog box, we can choose what type of category this cell is. Is it a number? Is it some money? You know, I could make it, and we get a little sample here of how it would look. And we can control the number of decimal places. So remember, the contents of that box is just 0.2. And so if I make it pounds, then it becomes sort of 20p. It becomes 0.2. As a fraction, it displays it as 20.00. And I don't think I need any decimal places for the time being. So I'll just have it display as 20 with nothing behind the decimal place. So just to show you one more time, you can right click and choose Format Cells. And in there you can assign what it is. And just assigning it as a percentage just makes the formula a bit easier to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my percentage VAT figure just to, we're going to assume that these prices are without VAT. And then we're just going to find out what the VAT is and then maybe add the total onto it. So it's quite a simple procedure. I'm going to do a formula. So let's do January's first. So I'm going to say equals. And then what I need to do is times my monthly total by the VAT, and the figure we get will be just the VAT. So it's in B17, and we get, little blue box, check. And I'm going to times B17 by my VAT figure, which is in P2. Press return. And we get £127.88. Okay, so if that was the ex-VAT price, the VAT price would be 127.88, and then the total amount would simply be the VAT plus the original monthly total. So I'm just going to say equals. I'm just going to do it with my cursor this time. B17 plus B19 equals. So £639 without VAT, £127 VAT gives us a total of £767.26. Okay. Great, all right. Now, let me now take my formula. I'm going to use the trick that I used last time. And I'm going to drag it to the right for it to calculate all of them. Oh, they all go to 0. Now, why have they all gone to 0? Let's have a little look. Let's read what one of the formulas says. So it says C17, all right, so C17 is... if I double click on it, by the way, it sort of puts the formula in the box and we can see the colours as well. So C17 is correct. That's the February monthly total, all right, times Q2. Q2, no. What's it done? It's moved both values across one. What do I mean by that? Well, let's have a little look at this one. This one was B17. Okay, so B17 times P2. So that's the VAT figure's right and the monthly total's right. The next one, it's gone C17, so it's the answer, you know, I've put the formula one cell across to the right. It then moved the total amount that we're multiplying one cell across to the right. It went from B17 to C17. And also, trying to be helpful, it's moved the VAT figure one step across to the right. So it's actually looking at this square now and not looking at the right square. As everything's moved to the right, it's gone, fine, I'll move the answer to the right, we'll move the monthly total will go to the right, and the VAT figure will go to the right. But we don't want that on the VAT. We want the VAT to always point at that cell. We don't want that cell to change. Okay? And so that's and it's one of these things that when you see it then working, you'll get it nice and easily. So B17, that's correct. And we then want it to go to C17, D17, E17. So we don't have to touch that. P2, we just want it to stay at P2 all the time. And how do you make it? How do you turn it from a relative, so it changes relative to the cells it's in, to an absolute? I don't want you to change no matter what happens. And the way you make that change is by using the dollar sign. All right? The dollars can be thought of as little soldiers, and you need two of them because you need one little soldier to protect the row, and you need another little soldier to protect the column. Okay? So this formula now reads B17 times $P $2. Now, whenever you see dollar signs, your brain should ignore them. They're not for you. They're for the computer to say don't move. All right? So watch what happens now. So the actual formula stays 127.88. Nothing changes. So let's just see what happens when we drag this formula across now. It seems to have worked. And let's see. So the first one, B17 times $P $2. The next one, C17, but it's still $P $2. D17 times $P $2. And just skim over it. You know, in your brain now, you just go, okay, well that's still E17 times P2, F17 times P2, G17 times P2. Okay? Brilliant. Now then, let's see this one. Do I need, so this is the question you need to ask yourself, do I need to use any dollars here? Do I need to use any dollar signs to protect the total amount? And the total amount is going to be this column. You know, we've done this already, but this is B17 plus B19. And that gives us the answer in B21. So in C21, when I copy that across or drag it, what do I want it to do? Do I want any dollar signs or do I not want any dollar signs? So I have a little think, and I think, well, I'm adding this one to this one. So, and when I move it, I want to add this one to this one. So it's the same. I don't want any dollar signs. And most of the time, you won't actually need the dollar signs. Okay? But if you drag a formula, and you see, it's if you're just pointing to one cell, we're just always on that previous formula for the VAT. We're always pointing back to that one cell. These other ones, we're moving them around as we go. Okay? So there's no need to actually... There's no need to use the dollar signs for the second one, but there is for the first because it only refers to the one cell. And all the rest are just C17 plus C19, D17 plus D19, E17. You know, we want these ones to be incrementing across. Okay? It's just a really, really good thing to know, absolute versus relative cell references. So I've opened up a different worksheet here. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at creating charts or graphs, as they're otherwise known. It's a very simple procedure. They've made it a lot more easier in 2007. I'm just here selecting all of the information that I want my chart to represent. So I've just clicked and dragged from A1 down to D4. Okay, and then I want it. The graph comes under the Insert menu, and what we get is it says charts here, okay. I've got a little drop down box I can push in the bottom right hand corner there, and that corner that might be useful because that just allows me to see every type of chart. So when I go to line, it's just dropping down one. These aren't all different, you know, these are all shown to me on this one page, but I just have to scroll down to get to the other ones. And as you can see, there's a huge variety of different charts, and we're not going to look. You could spend hours just going through charts. But we're just going to have a sort of a basic, or quite reasonably detailed look at these now. So there are all these different types of charts. We've got 3D ones. These are all sort of column charts. We've got line graphs, you know, that sort of are just a line that gets plotted around different data points. So I'm just going to start off with quite a traditional column graph. Okay. And so let me press cancel, and I'll just show you. There's two ways you can do this. You can either press this bottom button in the bottom right hand corner, which brings up this dialog box, okay? Or you can press the down arrow if you know the sort of chart that you're going to create already. You can press the down arrow and choose from there. So I'm going to do it by pressing the down arrow and just choose 2D column. And straight away, and this never used to happen in the older version, but straight away we get a graph. I mean, it's quite amazing, really. Now, it's not finished yet, okay? But let's look at what's happened. Let's just have a quick introductory look. So we have the first thing that's happened is, and I mentioned that this happens before, we've actually got 3 new tabs have appeared on our ribbon. Forgot what the name was for a second. On the ribbon across the top here, and you can see that we've got this green sort of a bezel that's appearing, and we've got these terms called chart tools, and these include design, layout, and format. And like I mentioned before, when I click off of them, when I click off the chart, boom, they've disappeared. So those are only available once you click on the chart. And I'll go through the more important options that are available from these tools to you. So we don't really need to worry about changing the type of chart because we've only just chosen it. But if I did want to change it, this basically brings up the previous menu, and I could choose a different type of chart and bring that up. But I'm not. So that's what that button does. Once you've created your thing, once you've created your chart and you're very happy with all the options, you can save it as a template. But again, we're not going to really look at that. So one possible useful one is the switch rows and columns. So at the moment, our bar chart is years. Okay, so let's have a look at what it's created. So we've got year 1. These were the sales. Okay, let's imagine that these are millions. Year 2, these are the sales, and year 3. And what are they the sales of? Well, they're comparing teams A, team B, and team C together. Now, what will this switch row and column data do? Well, let's have a look. I press it, and now what we've got is here is all of team A's sales over 3 years: year 1, year 2, year 3. Here is team B. So depending on what you're trying to see, this is seeing how each individual team does over a 3-year period. When I swap them the other way, this now shows me how each team does against each other in a given year. So depending on what you want the graph to show, that's exactly what that option is for. We can pitch the information one way or the other, a tiny bit like a sort of a pivot table might pivot the data around a little bit. Okay, we've also got, so moving on, we've got a whole bunch of predefined chart layouts, okay? And when you save a template, then it appears in chart layout, but we won't necessarily look at that. But watch, as I just click on them, see that one added a chart title. This one removes the axes, okay? So not necessarily, and there's a bunch of predefined ones here. This puts the legend at the bottom. I quite like that. I think that's quite nice. And you can click on the, you can either click on the down arrow, or you can click on the arrow right at the bottom, and that just opens it up to show us all of them. And you can see that there's 11 different templates in there. So I've had a little play. I've chosen that one. The next one is just to do with the style of chart. So at the moment we've got this sort of blue, red, green style going on. Well, maybe we want to, be all the blues or all the reds or all the greens. And exactly the same thing happens. We've got these flyouts, and we've just got lots of different types of charts. We can have it set on black with sort of bevel embossed. In fact, that looks pretty stylish, actually. That one on the screen for the time being. So, as you can see, all of these first ones, these are under the Design tab. Okay. Let's have a look at the Layout tab. See what that gives us. So, what are the major things here? Well, the major things are we can have labels. Okay. So at the moment there's a couple of labels on here at the moment, but only 2 really. So the chart title. So at the moment it's there, but I haven't filled it in. But this is where I could remove it. So what's happening with these is, when I go back to the Design tab, these predefined ones obviously have certain elements turned on and turned off. So the one I chose had the title predefined in it. Here is where it gets a bit more granular. Here I can choose specifically to add a title on it, or this is above chart. Okay, so it's this is sort of inside the chart, and the other option is above the chart, or we have the option for none whatsoever. But you always should have a title on your chart, and I think above it is quite good. So let's just have, I'm going to call this Teams A, B and C Sales over 3 years. Okay? I might capitalise the O just to make it look a bit neater. Oops, didn't mean to hit return. You don't need to hit return, you can just click to sort of finish your adding. So, but what else? So we need some more labels. I mean, year 1, year 2, year 3. I don't think so. What we could do is we could add a title below the horizontal axis. So I could put in years here. I'm not going to because I don't think you actually need it. I think years is pretty obvious. So we will we'll go back up to axis titles, and I'll just choose none for that. But this 2015-10-50 on the left-hand side, what is that referring to? Well, let's say that's referring to sales in millions. So I probably do need a vertical title. And here I can choose display rotated axis title. Let's have a look at that. So let's say sales. Oops. And the nice thing about a rotated one is it's not going to take up much space. So I'm just going to delete what it says there, and I'm just going to put sales, and I'll put M in brackets to indicate millions. And again, I've got to get out of the habit of pressing return. So now we're getting some idea here. We've got, and also we can choose whether we have the legend on or off. So you know that legend there, we can have it at the right. Okay, so we've got a bunch of different options, and this is just to add information into the graph. So I think this definitely needs to have a legend. I actually think the one I've actually chosen now, when I start specifically looking at it about how it's actually going to work in the real world, I just think the colours are too similar. Team A, Team B, Team C. It's pretty hard to actually tell which one's which. Maybe not so much Team C, but A and B look so similar that I probably wouldn't actually choose this. And that's about as far as we want to look on here. So maybe just the labels, and then under the format menu, here's where you could get really granular. So I was saying that I wasn't too keen on these colours, so maybe I could actually select this Team A label, and maybe I could just make it a black. I don't like that at all. Maybe I could just make it orange. There we go. And obviously now that stands out a lot more, and maybe we can have, instead of this one, let's again go for something, there we go. So what we're actually getting here is different effects that are being applied. So here's another part of the being, again, incredibly granular and being able to choose exactly what effects you want. So this one is, you can see from the yellow outline that this has the bevel added to it. So if I go no bevel, bevel is just means stand it out, make it look a little bit 3D. So watch them all lose that sort of bevelness on the purple one that was selected there. So the other two look beveled, and that one doesn't. I can just select the graph as a whole, I believe, and I can choose bevel. Hang on a second. There we go, or no bevel. Excellent. So I've just gone ahead and created another graph as the computer just crashed. And so I lost that other graph. But basically we'd finished going through the various different options that you can go through, the design, layout and format tools. Each sort of getting slightly more granular, so we could think of it as the chart layout just gives you the biggest change in how the whole chart looks. The layout then allows us to add different labels to either the X, Y axis, the chart title, or the legend, and then you can get down to the format where you're formatting everything in a specific color with effects, different shape effects, outlines, colors. You can just fill in each. You don't even have to choose these predefined shape styles. You can go ahead and use all these different colors, and then even the lines around the columns. Thank you. Or whether it's even dashed. So you can get very, very granular in these. What I wanted to have a look at lastly was the idea that so I've got my data here. I've added a few extra worksheets along the bottom. Just because sometimes it's nice to have your data on one sheet and maybe the graph on another. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose cut on my graph, and notice that so a couple of things. It doesn't work if you just click somewhere inside the graph. You've got to go to the edge of the graph and now you choose cut. Now I might want that graph on its own worksheet, okay? And what I've done here is you can see I've got some data here, then maybe some analysis on a different page. And the graph is set on the third spreadsheet. I've also got a set print area that I'll just clear off here. So let's go to the graph. So like I say, we've got the graph on one. The other thing I can do is either any of the corners or indeed in the middle. When my cursor changes to this sort of line with two arrows at either end, I can use that to resize my graph. Okay, and I can also just grab my graph and move it around. The slight black interference that we're getting is just to do with the recording of the video. So I want my chart over in on the. I accidentally grabbed and moved the chart title there. Again, that's just purely the method I'm using to record the video that's making that slightly harder to move around. I don't think you'll have those issues. But a good size chart title here. Let's go to the print tab under the circular orb for the office, and we'll just look at a print preview. Okay, and by default under page setup, so if I come into page setup, it will be set to portrait. Okay, which you can see still gets in all the data. It might be just truncating a tiny bit off that side, but I don't actually think it is. I think it's shrunk it to fit. But what we really want to do for a diagram that's quite landscape really in its initial layout is just choose the landscape mode. Now we've got this close print preview button here when we're happy with it. Like I say, I could copy this instead of cutting it. I could paste it onto here. Okay, I could grab this bottom right hand corner and make it much smaller if I wanted to. I mean, I can even grab it and make it a funny shape. And that really sort of goes with the sort of format there. So that's just made it to just stretch out over the whole space. So we've looked at conditional formatting. No, we haven't. Sorry, we've looked at absolute versus relative cell references. We've looked in detail at graphs, and then we just had a little look at print preview and portrait versus landscape orientation. Okay, so hopefully that's all been very useful. We'll move on to some more advanced formulas next week, and I look forward to hearing from you then. Okay, cheers, bye-bye.